There's this incredible section of scripture. It's in John 13 through 15, where Jesus takes this time. This is kind of leading up to his death. And he's laying out for his disciples in crystal clear language what he wants. So he goes through this process where he says the same thing like 8 different ways. He says, "This is my commandment," and then he says, "A new commandment I give you," and he says, "Another commandment I give you." And every time he's saying, if you read the passage, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another." And then he says, "You are my friends if you do what I command. And you are my friends, or you're my disciples if you will listen to what I command." And every time it's the same thing, that you love one another. 1 John goes even further and says, if we say we love God, if we say we're disciples of God, but we don't love each other, then we are lying. And so really, when we look at love, we look at it not as a feeling, but as an action. James talks about faith without works being dead. And so turning love into action is really where the rubber meets the road for a disciple of Jesus. Having a nice feeling for somebody and saying, "I love you," but not sacrificing or doing anything to change the situation, James says that's basically worthless. If you say to your brother, "Be warm and well fed," but you don't give him a coat or anything to eat, what good does it do? And so we really have to begin to ask ourselves some very, very tough questions. This was why following Jesus requires you to die and pick up your cross daily, because it's an everyday interaction where you see needs in other people and you are drawn to then meet those, but that requires something of you. It begins to cost something of you. It begins to cost the way you use your money. It begins to cost the way you use your vacation time. And all of these things are things that we do not out of duty or out of just sheer obedience, even though that is what the Lord asks of us as well, but we do them out of an overflow of his love for us. He gets right at the end of John 15 and says, "Now listen, if you want to do the things I've just told you to do, loving others, here's how you do it. You abide in me." And so these all flow together. But the key to note when we are looking at, are we living a Jesus way of life? Are we turning our love into action? Are we seeing needs and reversing those? And one of the most challenging sections of this is that Jesus not only requires this for our friends, he requires it also for our enemies. And so this is an incredible challenge, one that can only be done with others in community around us and as we seek to experience the love of God, but always looking to turn that love into action.